What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today we have an excellent surprise. We are finally stocking our fish tanks. We've stocked a couple of them. We have shrimps, we have the blue phantom plecos, we have angelfish, killifish, pygmy cories, and of course axolotls. But we are finally stocking the rest of the fish tanks, because if you've been following the channel for a little while and you've seen the latest couple videos, you know that we have, at the moment, 20-gallon tanks that have been up and running for probably about 2 months now or so. They're all completely cycled, they're all ready to go, but more than half of them have remained empty because we haven't stocked them. Well, today's one of the days that we're going to be stocking them. We should be getting another box of fish either tomorrow or Saturday, and I'll probably combine both unboxings in the same video. But at the moment we have 4 boxes to unpack, a couple plants that we're going to be adding, some Corydoras, some plecos, and fish that we've never kept before, which we are very excited for. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into those boxes. If you're curious about the fish room and the progress and the build for the last couple months since we moved, like I said, if you've been following the channel before, great on you. If you haven't, go back and see some of those old videos to kind of see what we're working with. But right now, let's jump into this unboxing and let's see what we got. All right, so like I said, we have 4 boxes. A lot of them are individually bagged, and some of them are together if they're the same species and whatnot. But overall, we popped open all the bags, or sorry, all the boxes, as you can see here, just to take a good look at them before we do this unboxing, make sure they're all alive and stuff like that. We don't want to show you guys dead fish. And thankfully, 100% of our fish came alive and looking healthy, but of course they're in the bags, so we got to pull them out, get a good look at them. Like I always like to do, I always like to get a specimen container and fill it with a little bit of the tank water that they're going to be going into. And I want to get a good look at them from the side, from the top, before we put them in a bigger container to start acclimating them to the tank water. But before we get into the fish, we'll do the boring stuff first. And we got a couple plants. So this first one here is a water sprite. I've heard good things about them. This is actually a pretty large plant, but yeah, as you can see there, it's a water sprite. Let's see if I can get it out in one piece. Wow, this is an enormous plant. Holy. I feel like we definitely got a good deal on this one, because this entire plant was, oh my god, can you see how big that is in the camera? This entire plant was only like $7, I think, like that. So that is awesome. We will definitely be putting this in a large tub and running it under some water. The thing I like to do with plants, and you should honestly be doing it with plants too, is you should check them over and make sure that there's no snails attached to them or anything that hitchhiked. Oh, the plant's a little broken right there. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera. There we go. But yeah, you should go over your plants before you introduce them to your tank, just to make sure that there's no snails or anything that you don't want getting into your tank on these things. So I'm going to put this to the side, and we will put this in some water and get a closer look at it before we introduce it to one of our tanks. And we'll do that with all of our plants, by the way. So this next one should be a water sprite as well. Yeah, look at that. This one is a water sprite as well, but it is a lot smaller than that other one. Wow. That other one could probably be like 3 of these. But pull real gently on the stem here just to get it out. Yep, so there's another water sprite, but this one is far smaller than the other one. The other one we might actually break up into 2 or 3, to be honest. And then this last plant that we got, which I thought was pretty cool. I've never had one of these before, but this is called a cardinal plant, and it's a relatively small plant. It definitely looked bigger online, but I don't know. I thought that was a pretty unique looking plant. It kind of resembles some other ones, some like grass ferns and stuff like that, but it doesn't. It's got like these teardrop leaves, which I think are pretty cool. But anyways, enough with the plants, because I know you're here for the fish. So let's clean up a little bit and we will get to the fish. All right, so pardon the weird camera angle workspace area. I don't have a lot of room in the garage to do this sort of thing at the moment because, as you could probably tell, we are currently building the stands for our bigger racks, which will be a future video. So if you want to see how we built essentially these things, but on bigger racks, then stick around, go ahead and subscribe, and yeah, we're going to be releasing that video probably in a couple more weeks. Okay, so let's jump into some of these boxes and start unbagging some of these fish. I don't exactly know what's what. Obviously I know what I ordered, but I don't recall what is in what box. They kind of all got mixed up and shipped a little bit differently. Like some species are in one and then half of that same species in another. So we'll go bag by bag and try to sort out as we go. But let's see what we got in this first one. And all the bags are kind of leaking a little bit. So it looks like these ones are our Longfin lemon blue eye plecos. So it looks like there's 2 of them in this bag. Yeah. And it looks like they came in medicated water, which is great. Looks like there's also a lot of poop in there. So let's get them out and into this specimen container. And then we'll get a better look at them. And I guess since we're starting off with the lemon blue eyes, we will try to find all of the lemon blue eyes and go from there. All right, so there's the first 2. We're already kind of filling up on water in this container. So let's find the other bags of lemon blue eyes and then we'll go from there. Here's another bag with, it looks like just 2 again. There we go. There's the last bag. So 6 in total is what we got of the Longfin lemon blue eye plecos. If you've been a subscriber for a long time, you would know that we've had these Longfin lemon blue eyes at our previous fish room before we moved. Unfortunately, we did have to get rid of them. But we never got them big enough to breed. We got them as juveniles, and unfortunately, we just didn't have them long enough before we had to move. So we're trying that again. We've had great success with our plecos in the past, never with the Longfin lemon blue eyes, just because we never got them big enough. But we're hoping that this time will be different because we are going to be here at our new location for a lot longer. So there is the Longfin lemon blue eyes. Absolutely love the fact that they don't have those red eyes that albino fish have. Albinos are cool in their own way, but it's to me personally, it's a little off-putting with the eyes. I don't really like red-eyed fish unless it actually fits the fish species, like a discus or angelfish, things like that. But albinos are just a little strange to me, especially in plecos. They're cool in their own way, but I definitely favor some other plecos. But these guys are pretty cool. So we'll start acclimating these and get them into another tank. But let's go ahead and open up another species and show you that. So next on the list we have our Longfin bushy nose plecos. So again, if you remember from our previous fish room, if you've been a subscriber for a long time, and if you haven't, please do subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out a lot. You would know that we've had these guys before, these Longfin calico, not common plecos, obviously, because common plecos get huge, but these common bushy nose plecos, but in the Longfin variety. And we've had great success with breeding them as well. I had a trio that consisted of a male and 2 females, and I promise you for like 3 months in a row, the male was on eggs like every other week. It was incredibly impressive. We had so many babies come out of that trio. It was quite ridiculous. The only difference with this compared to that time is we're getting our plecos as juveniles, obviously. As you can see, they're incredibly small. The plecos that we had of our Longfin variety last time were on the larger side. We got them as, I mean, we pretty much got them as adults. So as soon as we got them and took them home, they were breeding like within the month. But these guys are obviously very, very small. I would say they're probably a month or two old. They're really not that old. But they look absolutely gorgeous. Let me see if I can give you a top-down view while they're in the bag. I don't want to move the camera, but you can definitely see their long fins coming out just right there in that shot. I know it's a terrible shot, but you can definitely tell that they are indeed long fins as promised and as advertised. But like I was saying, these guys are probably only 2 months old. They are very far away from breeding. I would give it like another year before they can even attempt to start breeding. We always get 6 juveniles. When you can't find an adult, obviously, I always get a pack of 6 whenever I'm trying to breed something, because having a pack of 6 will almost guarantee that I get at least 1 female and 1 male. While as if I got a pack of like 2 or 3, you could end up with both males, or all 3 males, or all 3 females. So getting a pack of 6 just kind of increases your odds that you're going to have a successful split between the sexes. Get out, guy. There you go. All right, so let's zoom in on these guys. This is probably going to be one of my poorer quality videos. I apologize. I'm just trying to get it out to you guys and get these fish in their new tanks, get them set up, get them comfortable, because they have been traveling for a couple days. So I'm sure they are not only stressed but tired, and they need to color up and get a bite to eat. So I'm just trying to whip this video out. But yeah, there is the calico longfin plecos, another 6 of them, just like the lemon longfins. So let's get these guys acclimating and we will do the next fish. So the next one I have is not going to be a pleco, but instead we are going to move on to Corydoras. So the only Corydoras that we've had in the past are Panda Corydoras, which did incredibly well for us. I swear I was pulling eggs like every other day with our Panda Cory tank before we had to move. And then we had green emerald, green bronze Corys. I forget exactly which ones those were. But we had those as well, and we accidentally bred those. We weren't trying, but there was just babies in our tank one day, so that was pretty cool. But these Corys are gold laser Corys. So we have never had these before, but we've always wanted them. They're supposed to be like, I mean, they're supposed to be gold, but they're supposed to be on the yellow side, and you can kind of tell that they have the yellow tinted fins. It's a little hard to tell in the double bagging. So let's get these guys out and put them in a container to look at them a little better. But of course, they've been traveling. They're a little stressed. They don't know what's going on, so they've probably decolored just because of that reason alone. So if they're not super yellow right now, I'm not too stressed about it. They'll yellow up over time. All right, so here are the first 4. We got 12 of these guys. Yeah, they already look a little more yellow coming out of the bag. They actually look a little green, to be honest. Like green bodies with yellow fins, but we'll get all 12 of these guys out and we will take a good look at all of them. It appears that our Corys are actually on a little bit of the larger side. I ordered juveniles as well because, you know, it was cheaper, but these Corys are actually kind of on the larger side, it looks like. They're not like super adults, but they're not juveniles either. I'd say they're like teenagers. They might be able to breed here in the next month or two, to be honest. What we might do is with all of our Corys, not just these gold lasers, but with all of them, we might put spawning mops in the tank, but not necessarily with the intent to spawn them right away. I mean, if they do, cool, the mops are there. But if they don't spawn right away, they will at least use that spawning mop, because we'll probably sink one and float one. They will at least use that as a hiding place. So it's kind of multi-purpose. They can either use it for its intended purpose or just use it for a hiding place, essentially. But yeah, these are our gold laser Corys. Let me get something white behind there. Yeah, they look pretty cool, to be honest. Some of them look darker than others. Some of them look lighter than others. Some of them look almost green. Some of them look almost black. But we'll get them in the tank and we'll take a look at them in a couple days to a week or so. Give them some food. Let them get comfortable with their new environment. And I'm sure they'll color up and they'll all be gold. But right now they are looking pretty cool. They're looking very alive and healthy. Put my finger in there and they'll scatter. Or not. They're just going to stay in the corner. That's cool too. Scatter. Move around. Yeah, definitely a cool fish. Never had these before, but I'm very excited to have them now. And honestly, I'm excited to start breeding them. That'll be really cool, really fun. So this next Corydora, I feel like if you've even heard of a Corydora before, you're probably thinking of this one. If not, maybe like a stir-by or something like that. But we have had these ones before. Like I just mentioned, we only had 2, so you have a 50-50 guess right now before I reveal it. But we ordered 24 of these guys, not only because they were cheap and on sale, but because we've had them before, we enjoy them, we love them, we've had great success with them. And starting off with a bigger colony means you're just going to have a happier Corydora, because they are schooling fish. They want to be in groups of 6 or more, preferably like 8 to 12 or more. So yeah, we got 24 Panda Corys. I honestly wanted to go with the Longfin variant of the Panda Corys this time around. I've never had the Longfins before. We've just had the normal Panda Corys. And the Longfin ones look pretty cool. So we were contemplating getting those, but they were sold out, so we didn't get a chance. But yeah, normally we have issues shipping Corys. Because if you don't know, Corys actually have a little bit of a toxin in their fins, where if they get too stressed or they get picked up weird, or honestly in the wild, if they get attacked by a predator, they have these spines. I believe they have a few spines under their eyes, which are not the common ones. It's the ones behind their fins. And if you're poked with one of those spines, you actually get a little bit of, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's venom. It's a little bit of a toxinous. Oh my god, I can't speak. It's essentially a little bit of a venom that'll go into your skin. For us humans, it's non really effective at all. You might get a little pinch and it might be a little bit of a numbing sensation, but it's not going to do anything to us. It barely even does anything to other fish. It's mostly just a defense mechanism to try to get predators to not eat them, things like that. But anyways, the reason why I mentioned the toxin is because Corydoras will use that toxin, like I said, as a defense mechanism, but also when they're stressed. And obviously when you're taking fish out of their tank and shoving them in containers and bags and shipping them and all that fun stuff, your fish are going to get stressed. And they're going to release that toxin into the water that they are occupying at the moment. And once they are taken out of their tank, which let's say they're in like a 40-gallon breeder or something like that, if they release their little bit of toxin, a couple drops in a 40-gallon breeder, it's going to dilute and it's not going to be effective at all. But if they release their toxins, their full amount of toxins, which again is probably only a few drops relative to the size of the fish, in a little container like this, it's going to dilute that big of a container. So what Corys end up doing, in my experience, and trust me, I've had this happen before, is once you pull them out and you get them into this little tiny container and stuff like that, and they release those toxins, they're essentially poisoning themselves. They're poisoning the water around them, and they might end up going sideways or even upside down and killing themselves. So what a couple of the fish breeders that I've dealt with before do is they'll scoop these guys up, and just like any other fish, they'll put them in a bag and call it good. And those Corys will poison that water. So the way you really want to do this when you're shipping Corys is you want to scoop them out, put them in a little jar like this, leave them in that jar for probably 5 or 10 minutes, because they're probably releasing the toxins in that water. And then before you put them in the bag, after you've had them in this container for honestly 5 or 10 minutes, you do a water change. So that way you're changing all of that toxic water out. And then when they're being shipped in that new water, they're not swimming in a pool of their own toxins. It's going to take them a couple days, maybe a week or two, to regenerate that toxic bladder, so that way they can retoxify the water again. So you're just getting rid of that toxic water, and then they're shipping perfectly fine. They're not shipping in toxic waste, essentially. So yeah, if you didn't know that, that's a cool little tip. Corydoras, take a little extra care to ship. But just like the gold lasers, honestly, these cories came a lot bigger than expected. I was hoping the plecos would come bigger than they did, but these cories, all of them look nice. I don't see any of them with bent spines. They're all on the bigger side. They're not like true adults, but they're not juveniles either. They're probably at least 6 to 8 months old. So just like the gold lasers, we'll probably put a spawning mop in this tank, and if they use it for spawning, cool. If they don't use it for spawning, they will at least use it as a place to take shelter. And honestly, that's the name of the game with cories. They are fish that like to hide. They like to socialize and eat and graze on the sand, but they will essentially hide for a lot of their time. So we'll put a couple spawning mops in there and we'll see how they do. But anyways, we have one more cory to get through. So let's get these guys on the other side of the room where they're going to go into their tanks, and we will show you the next cory. All right, so we have 2 more species to get through of the unbagging. One of them is a cory, and then like I said, the other one is a mystery fish that we have never kept before. So excited to pull those out and take a good look at them. But our next one, also a cory that we've never had before, and also kind of an expensive one, is the Venezuelan black cory. I'm sure it has another name than that, and it probably has a scientific name, but these are the ones that are, or this is the name that's commonly advertised for these ones, is Venezuelan black. So it should be basically like a jet black Corydora. Sometimes they're a little bit on the chocolatey side. Usually like the fins are chocolatey, but the body itself should be essentially black. So we always thought these were pretty cool. We've always wanted them, but because of their price tag, we never really decided to get them before. But oh my God, these are huge. Hold on. Let's finish opening up the other bags. So we have 9 of these ones. I wanted to get 12 because I believe in having a Corydora colony, minimum recommended colony, school, whatever you want to call it, for a cory is 6. So I decided to go with 9. I wanted 12, but yeah, these things are pricey. So I only went with 9 just because I'm not that rich. I can't afford the price tag of more than this. And actually I got these for pretty cheap. You usually find these for, God, I've seen anywhere between $30 to $65 a fish, American. But I got these for $20 each. So I decided to go with a little bit more than the recommended 6. Like I said, I wanted 12, but 9 is the happy medium. So happy to have these in the fish room because they do look awesome. My only regret is I painted pretty much all of my tanks with a black background. So these are gonna be really hard to see, but that's fine. I'm putting these guys on white sand instead of black sand to hopefully see them a little bit better. And with enough plants, the background is not going to make too much of a difference. So yeah, these are the Venezuelan black cories. You can't, I mean, you can kind of tell in the picture. They are pretty jet black, and they do have some kind of like a chocolatey tinted fins. So that's about what I'd expect. The one dancing around right now looks like he's a little bit of a lighter color. So hopefully he'll darken up. But yeah, these guys look pretty cool. I do like that. But some of them look big. Like this one that's in my fingers right now, it looks like a big female. Let's see if we can do a top view. So looking at the Corydoras like this is generally how you would tell if it's a male or female. There's a couple different ways, but this is the most common way, is to look at them from a top-down view. If they look very narrow and skinny, then they're probably a male. And if they look very fat and round, more like an oval or an egg, then they're probably a female carrying eggs. These guys have been starved for a little while because obviously they've been in transit for some time. So they're probably a little on the hungry side, but you can kind of tell like the two in the bottom right there are a little ovally versus like that one in the corner is pretty narrow. So you can already kind of maybe tell some of the genders of these Corydoras. And I'm assuming we have a pretty nice split between males and females. So we'll get some food in these guys and we'll get them to plump up, and then maybe we'll take another look at them in a couple weeks. But yeah, these guys, just like the pandas and whatnot, I want to put a spawning mop in their tank as well. Again, not only to see if they will spawn, if they're old enough to spawn, but just as a hiding place for them to take some shelter. But yeah, these guys look awesome. Definitely worth the price. Let's get these guys acclimating to their tank as well, and let's get to that final fish. So this last fish, like I said, I've never kept it before. I'm very excited to keep it now. I took a quick sneak peek at them, and they don't quite look like the picture, but I'm hoping they will grow into it. It looks like they're all individually bagged, or some of them are in like a 2-pack, so it'll take a little while to open all of these, but if you know what that is, I will give you just a few seconds. It's really hard to tell with the bag and the medicated water, but that is a blue ram. To be more specific, that is a Longfin blue bubble ram. So it doesn't look very bubbly, maybe a little bit, and it doesn't look like it has very long fins. I mean, kind of in relevance to its size, maybe, but it doesn't look very long of fins. I could be mistaken because I've never had rams before, but yeah, let's get these guys out and take a good look at them, because I am very excited to have these in my fish room. All right, so these are the Longfin balloon blue bubble rams. Yeah, they don't look very balloony. Granted, they haven't eaten in a couple days, so maybe once we get some food in them, they'll balloon up a little bit. A lot of people are kind of against having balloon or bubble rams because they're terrible genetics, but honestly, I love the way they look, and I wanted to try them for myself and honestly see if I can breed them. This wasn't exactly the one I wanted, and I actually ordered 6, but there's only 4 right here. The store I bought from actually ran out, and they only had these 4 left, so we got the last of their stock. But you might not be able to tell on the picture, but at least the one I'm touching right now, it has like sparkles on its fin, and honestly that was what I was looking for in my rams. You can kind of tell are those sparkles on the fin. Once they get a little older and they develop longer fins and they get those sparkles all the way down the fin, I just think that is the coolest thing. So I'm very excited to have these as well. I know they're relatively frowned upon in the hobby, but they just look so cool. And maybe this will be our introduction to rams in general, not just the long fins and not just the balloons, but yeah, just rams in general. Maybe in the future we'll keep some Dark Knight rams or black rams or blue rams or something. But these guys look pretty cool. They look really shy at the moment, and I believe that's just the nature of rams. But yeah, we'll start acclimating them and get them out of this medicated water slowly and get them into their tank. But if they're going to continue to act like this, where they just kind of sit on the bottom, that's cool, but hopefully they liven up a little bit, because I imagine that they would be swimming, not just sitting on the bottom. So, but nothing's wrong with them. They're healthy. It's just they're scared. So that's fine. We'll see if they liven up in a little bit. But yeah, that is all of the fish. So we'll go ahead and acclimate them, and we will get them into their tanks. I will skip the acclimation process, and I won't talk on that. I've talked enough. This is already a longer video than I wanted to make. So we'll jump right into introducing them to their tank, and you can see that process. But we'll skip the acclimation on the video. I'm still going to acclimate, obviously, but we'll skip that part and get right into the introduction.